So I just had a friend over to do a tarot card reading for me. She just left, and it was awesome. It was really hard to hear a lot of the stuff. A lot of the stuff was like financial worries. And I was like, yeah. Oh my God. Like, yes, that is the biggest thing that I'm worried about, I think. Um, Financial worries, obviously, because like going to Bali alone is a kind of a huge expense. And just everything is so expensive right now. And being that I'm mostly home with my two youngest kids, it is really, really, really hard to find time to contact clients and edit galleries. And I am not doing a tenth of the work that I was doing 5 years ago. And so it's been really, really hard. My kids are 2 and 4, my two youngest. And so they're not in preschool, they're not in daycare, there's not really anything around here. And yeah, it's just been really, really hard. Whether or not you believe in like tarot readings or anything like that, I do. And they've always been really illuminating for me. And I think, regardless of where you fall on that, there is something to be said for having someone kind of lay out these interpretations of what they're seeing in front of you, and you being able to kind of apply it to things that are going on in your life, or even just being like, what do I associate that with? What do I associate, this message of fear with? Because it kind of gives you an insight into where you're at mentally. It was overall a really good reading. It was like, there's a fear, obviously, but you can do the thing you want to do. Like, you can do this. You're going to do this. You just have to get out of your own way. Be like water was one of the things she said that really resonated with me. If there's an obstacle in your path, be like water. Just flow around it. The financial worries. She said I should talk to a financial advisor or like a professional, which I was like, yeah, I definitely should. Money blocks are such a huge thing for me. And I've been working on them for the past 6 years, but I still have so far to go. And she told me some songs that have been in her mind, kind of that she's associated with me, that she thought it was important that she tell me. One was the Banana Boat song. I love that. The other was This Girl Is on Fire, which is really interesting to me for a lot of reasons. But like that, I thought that was really interesting. So I'm going to listen to it later on and see if it sparks anything. And the Banana Boat song. Or no, I already said that one. The other one was, oh my God, what was it? It was the Beetlejuice song that they danced to. I'll think of it. And so I thought that was really cool that she was telling me this. She's like, I thought of you. She texted me at 2:22 and she said that was significant. I haven't looked up what that means yet, though. I need to do that as soon as I'm done with this video. And yeah, a lot of the stuff, some of it was kind of hard to hear. And because I do think that there is a disconnect a little bit between my husband and I about Bali and just in general, everything. We didn't have like a traditional relationship. We got together when he had a child and I had a child, and and then we had 2 more together. So like we didn't have that period of like dating and get to knowing each other and building a life. We were like smashing 2 lives together. And it has been really, really difficult. Like, having like a blended family was not something that was on my personal bingo card. I don't think it's anything that everyone necessarily like dreams of, because it's super hard in so many different unexpected ways. And moving to Bali, obviously, this is going to make it even harder. It's like a huge obstacle that's in our way. And our method of communication, my husband is very go with the flow. He's like, yes, babe. And that was even something that came up in one of the cards. She was like, I forget what card it was, but it was like the Prince of Cups, maybe. And she was like, you don't need the Prince of Cups, though. You need the King of Swords, King of Cups, I want to say, or Prince of Cups, I want to say, but I'm not positive. Don't hold me to that. Is like very, yes, babe, you're beautiful, whatever you want, we got this. But there needs to be follow through on that. And I thought that was really interesting, because that is very much our dynamic, is like, my husband is very, yes, babe, whatever you want, but that's not communication. Like, we have a hard time, and we love each other and so much, but it is really hard for us to communicate. I think because there's a lot of tension of like, that's from your life before, that's from my life before. It's just kind of weird and awkward, especially because, like, my stepson's mother has him every other weekend. We have him the rest of the time, and she's not super involved. She doesn't come to like parent teacher conferences or doctor's appointments or stuff like that. But she's also made it very clear that, like, I am not to take on a motherly role. And so it's like, okay, but like someone has to. And so it's just been a very, like, I'm not really a parent to my stepson, but I've been in his life for like 8 years now. And it's just kind of a messy, so it's like, I don't know what I can say or can't say or suggest, or like, even like discipline and stuff. Like my kids, my three, are being the ones that came out of me, are being raised pretty differently, with different expectations, and that makes it just sort of weird and awkward. And so rather than like address that weirdness and awkwardness, my husband and I kind of just like don't, which is not good. And it's something that the cards brought up, like, you guys need to talk about stuff, which I don't disagree with. And it made me think, like, what is Bali to me? Is it just an opportunity to kind of run away and escape from that weird dynamic and this weird situation, and just being free to like be the mother I want to be without being a part of someone else's story where I have a different role? I'm not a mom. I'm just kind of there because I don't want it to be that. I don't want it to be that. I'm like, is it? Is that what I'm doing with it? I'm really worried that, yeah, I'm trying to escape the things I don't like in my life right now with Bali. And I don't want it to be that. I want to believe that I'm just trying to build my happy dream life. But it brought up a lot of those questions, the reading. And then she did some oracle cards afterwards. And those were also, like, it made me feel really good to see this, like, yes, you can do this. Like, you need to trust yourself and you need to take the steps. But it's not going to be easy. And there's going to be a lot of hard stuff coming at you, but you can do it. But it was also very, I don't know, hard truths, I guess, hard things to take in. I guess I'll have to cut this part out where I'm just like thinking to myself. So my takeaways from the tarot reading are, I can do this. I just have to take the steps. I need to not be afraid of the bits that are going to hurt, because there is going to be parts, I think, that are going to lead to uncomfortable conversations. And I mean, it kind of already has. It's been uncovering so much stuff for me. Like, about 2 years ago, I had this really beautiful, huge studio space. I'm a photographer, downtown in my area. And I was really happy about it. And it felt good. It was like, oh yeah, I made it. I'd had other studio spaces, but this one was huge. It was right downtown on the main street. And it just kind of felt like very good, because it was like, look, you can look at this and you can see that clearly I'm doing something. Because my family in general tends to kind of take my photography as like oh, you're still doing that? Like every time my grandparents see me, they're like, oh, are you taking any pictures lately? And I'm like, yeah, that's my career. That's what I do. I'm going to have to bleep that, I think. That's what I do. Like, I take pictures. Yeah, like that's my job and I'm doing it. And I try not to take it personally, but also just little things. Like, I've always felt like such a loser. I didn't go to college, and I'm just like by far the least successful, or I guess the least outwardly successful of like my cousins, and I've always felt like such a failure. And so to have this space and like to have built this very real business from the ground up was very important to me. And then I ended up not being able to keep it. It was so expensive. It was like $2,000 a month rent. And I think I had just had a baby when I signed the lease, which was probably not a great idea. And things were slowing down, like in the economy all over. And there's a lot of combination of bad things, bad luck. And I had to give up my studio. And I was really bummed about that. Like, I felt so bad. I had to sell a ton of stuff that I had there, like that took years to build up my collection of like client client clothes, props, sets, lighting, just so much stuff. And I had to sell it all off. And it hurts so bad, and it still hurts. And I never really like dealt with that. And I remember trying to tell my parents, like I was like, oh, I have to tell them that, I'm getting rid of the studio. And I told my parents, and I wasn't asking them to like, oh, I need you to help me pay this off or whatever. I was just telling them like, yeah, I can't afford the studio anymore. I'm closing it down. And my dad was like, well, yeah, I don't want you getting any more studios, no more studios. And I was like, I'm like a 34-year-old woman. What? But it was just such a, like a, not like a, oh, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, kid, you got this. It was like you failed. And that's all that this will ever be. Like, that's what this takeaway is. Not the, 5 years of very successful studios that I had before that, or this business I built. Like, I was hitting 6 figures. That didn't matter. Like, all that mattered was this one failure. And it's kind of been defining my life ever since. And that came up in the cards too. It was crazy. It was like about how there's been, judgment and failures and doubt in like, that's how we got here. And now I'm seeing it as like, man, how wonderful is it that that studio didn't work out, because it's opening the way for this thing that I feel really aligned with. Like, I couldn't go to Bali if I had a $2,000 a month studio here. But at the time, yeah, it hurt so bad. And so I think, I don't know, that was kind of cool to see come up in the cards. I just feel like there's a lot to run away from here. Not run away from, but like there is a lot of things that I want to get away from that are here. This weird, who am I in my family dynamic? Because to 3 kids, I'm mom. And then to 1 kid, I'm like dad's wife, even though I've been here since he was, I can do math, 6. And that's an uncomfortable feeling that I don't enjoy. And then, my parents, I don't have a super great relationship with them. It's not as bad as it once was. And they are great grandparents, which is another thing. They love the grandkids so much, and they're very helpful with them. But it's also not helpful to me, though. Like, when they watch the kids, my mom is definitely always texting me, like, you need to come over here and be with them. And if she's watching them and I'm over there and I'm on my phone, which I don't know if you know this, but almost 100% of clients these days communicate by phone. She gets very snarky about it. She's like, get off your phone. What are you doing? Pay attention to your kids. And it's like, I am with them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like, I can't be any more with them. But, it's just like that guilt, that constant like guilt tripping and kind of manipulation. And I'm not really respected as their mother around with my parents. I'm like, they really don't need that many toys. Too many toys is not good for kids. It overwhelms them with choices, and like, it's just not great. And they don't care. They just go so overboard on the toys and the treats. And every time they go over there, it's ice cream for breakfast, lunch, dinner. And so it's pretty frustrating to just have that. And it's like, you know what? I would like to get away from that too. And if I went to Bali, I feel like, I mean, not just Bali, it could be anywhere, but like I fell in love with Bali. And part of the plan I'm making for my life in Bali is like, I could hire a nanny. Like, I could hire a nanny who's not going to judge my parenting and who isn't going to second guess me and make me feel bad about doing work. For like a really reasonable price, and if it was like 4 days a week, 4 hours a day, I could get so much work done and not feel bad about it, not feel bad about myself. And like, just, so it feels like I'm not really running away from stuff. I feel like I'm running towards a place where I can have a plan and feel supported and build a life where I feel good and not unmoored and confused and quiet because I don't know what I can and can't say. I don't want that life. I want a life where I can go and feel confident and know my role and do my work and just like have the room and space to feel good about that. And that was another thing that came up in the cards too. Now that I'm like thinking about it, it was like, you're going to feel so guilty for trying to do these things that you want to do. And that's all that's doing is building a cage around you that isn't actually there. Like, the weight of other people's expectations is keeping you caged. And this was a very cool tarot deck. It was like the Crow tarot deck. It was awesome. I really liked it. The artwork was beautiful. I wish I had recorded more of the tarot card session itself, but I ended up giving my daughter my phone so she could play the Bluey game on it halfway through because she was, bored and wanted her mom, and she's not used to not having my attention on her 24/7. I'm definitely going to do another tarot reading, I think, leading up to this. Maybe I'll make it like a regular thing leading up to when I go, because I am going. Like, I'm gonna do this. And I just feel more confident about that now. Because I also got a message from another friend a few days ago that was like, I feel very strongly that you should not go to Bali. I have this feeling that something terrible is going to happen to you and your kids if you go. And so that's what this tarot reading was actually about, but I didn't want to tell my friend that to like influence her. I just wanted to see what would come up out of it. So I definitely want to do another reading, maybe with that in mind. And then I would like to do some kind of protection ritual or cleansing ritual. There's someone else I need to talk to about that too. So that's the update right now in moving to Bali. And I feel more sure than ever that this is happening. And I also feel a little bit relieved knowing that like it's okay to be scared because there is scary stuff coming, but you can get through it. That feels good. Thanks for watching. I still don't have a catchy sign off, so I guess I could just kind of like dance it out. Miss Vanjie, Miss Vanjie.